Hello and welcome to Staff Times. By this time you will have landed on the setup guide after having created the account. In creating this account you have been given the administrator rights, so you are currently in the control center of Staff Times. This means that you have full control over the general settings for your organization, which will apply to all staff. These settings will be transferred to the Tracker app when you decide. So the concept of Staff Times is composed of two parts. First, we have the Control Center, also known as the Admin Center, which is accessed through the website login. This is where the company-wide standards are set up, including time banks and activities, as well as signing up and managing the staff members. Lastly, various reports enable you to review and export your team members' time tracking for further processing. The second part is the Team Member app, or Tracker app, for capturing and reporting time. The admin uses the Control Center to invite each team member who receives an email with a link to download and install the Tracker app to their smartphone. The team member can then track his time based on the settings provided by the administrator. The team member can query his current balances and history using various reports on the Tracker app. So let's go to the profile. So profile is where you can upload your logo, your company's logo. In addition, you have the option of changing the language, which will determine the display on the website of the relevant language. In addition, you can change your password here at any time. Please note there is no deputy function, meaning you have full control with your own password to this control center. So why don't we go over to the timesheet formats now. So let's look at these timesheet formats, which is a centerpiece of time tracking. These timesheet formats, also known as activity records, these records are used for team members to track their hours. A set of activity records have been pre-installed showing various ways to track time. These records build the foundation for tracking of time and attendance, absences like vacation, sick days, travel, and all other events and tasks. The administrator may delete and create these activities as needed. So if we look at one particular activity like this at work one and check the parameters, if you hover over each element you will get a description. Please remember that we can have a maximum of 15 characters for the name because of the small screen size of the smartphone. Basically, these parameters control the format and calculations applied, like break time deduction, amount field, flat type input, no start and end times, and applying calculations like should the hours count against offset, hourly multiplier rate, show hours as own account, or reduce the balance. So if we modify one of these, then we can see that it's added to the list. We can look this up and we can then further modify it. It can be modified before it's deployed. Once you completed your modifications, you can finally deploy this record. So we're going to look up our last saved record and it's ready for deployment. If you click on deploy, this will push the record out to the team. A notice will arrive on the smartphone where the Tracker app is installed. This record can be updated until it's deployed, meaning updating the parameters and renaming. After deployment, the record is read-only. So if you decide to change anything, you will need to delete this and create a new one. So let's look at templates. Templates will allow you to illustrate certain scenarios for your team. These scenarios can be, for example, how to enter taking a vacation day, or compensating overtime, or working at special rates, and so on. So this tool serves to ensure your team is entering these scenarios in the expected format. A template covers 24-hour period. Various templates have been prepared, which are ready for deployment. You are kindly invited to review these, and for the ones you choose to push, you basically need to hit the deploy button on those. Please take note that the team has the option to create own templates on their smartphones. The team member can update the administrator's deployed templates and replace them with an own version. The team member's version of the template is only visible to him. So this is an example of changing one of these templates. Once you've made the change, you can look at these and edit them further up to the point until you have deployed this record. So the record has been deployed. We can now head over to the general settings, the default settings, where additional defaults can be set up for your staff. First of all, we have again the option to hover over each element and get a short description. You will also be told which of these are read-only to staff or which ones can be updated. So this is all contained in the hover text. Each tab has a set of default settings for the initial installment of the app, tracker app. You may add conditions for overtimes for each day of the week. And you may create certain standards for handling overtime for a period. This refers to the overtime for period within the tracker app. Finally, you have the option to set up annual allowances. This is typically used for vacation. Set annual allowance, also known as time bank. This is where you can set the total credit or production targets in hours or days for a particular activity name you wish to monitor. This feature is typically used for vacation tracking by setting the entitled annual allowance and monitoring the remaining credit with the allowance bank report. To set up the team's vacation allowance, we suggest you first create the appropriate record for each team member, like Vacation Peter 2017. Then select that record and add or update the allowance in hours or days. The days are calculated based on the formula given for the full-time equivalent in the first tab. The allowance balance report will calculate the remaining credits as at year to date. For the new year, a new activity record should be created for each team member, like Vacation Peter 2018, and the adjusted allowance added accordingly. So finally, you do have the option of looking up more detail in the setup guide. You have there the formats PDF, where you can see based on the parameters in the activity how this displays on the tracker app. Please use this for further reference. In addition, you have the FAQ. Explain the web service as a whole. For focusing on time tracking, you might want to scroll down to sections 7 and 8. So we hope that this will be sufficient to get you off the ground. Please refer to further tutorials relating to setting up the tracker app on the mobile phone. Thanks for listening and have a great start.